Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting live. It's America's longest running talk show on computers. It's Computer America, bringing you the biggest names in technology with guest interviews, new products, and your emails. Listen live at computeramerica.com on any device around the world. Email the show at live@computeramerica.com or find us on social media. Be sure to check out our website for contests, giveaways, show notes, live video stream, podcasts, and more. You're listening to Computer America.
Hello and welcome into the Computer America Show. We are the nation's longest running nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers and technology. Thank you so much for joining us, and I am your host, Ben Crossman, as we get things started here with another great episode. I hope all of you had a great weekend, were able to make it out to the new Wonder Woman movie that has been killing it at the box office. It is highly praised, and I know that we went to go see it here, and the majority of us loved it. So yeah, go check that out. That's definitely a great one from the DC universe. So, but in the meantime, everyone, welcome into Computer America. Thank you so much for joining us, and we have a great show for you today, because we have a company on called KNZ Technology, and they make a number of different products for audiophiles and for people who maybe are on the go. They have set of headphones, and they have some very stylish portable speakers that are waterproof and all that good stuff. So check it out, and we'll be talking with the founder and CEO himself about these products. So before we jump into that, though, I of course need to mention a few things, including computeramerica.com. That is probably the most important, because it will have links to anything and everything that we talk about here on the show today. All you have to do is just find the show notes for today's episode, and then right in there we'll have a link to our guest website. We'll have a link to any videos that we show on the air, any articles that we cover during our computer and technology news segments. Any and all of those, that's right, will be over at Computer America. And while you're there, be sure to check out the video portion where you can watch, not just listen to Computer America. And you can also check out the social media contest, which we just had a winner. They have contacted us. Their prize will be on the way here shortly. And we'll be choosing another winner of the Logitech M720 Triathlon mouse. Give one of those away every single Friday with our friends over at Logitech. So hopefully you have entered, you are all set to go, and I may just be calling your name live on the air this Friday. Okay. Now, with all of that said, I think we're just going to jump right into our first interview. And, again, this is a field that is very, to call it cluttered is an understatement. But there's a few products that really stand out, and I really do think that we have one of them here with us today. So, welcome onto the program. We have Mr. Lingbin Kong, and he is the founder and CEO of KNZ Technology. And Lingbin, thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, Ben. Thank you for having me today. And hello, everyone from Computer America.
And I'm sure if you could hear them, they would say hi back. So yeah, welcome onto the program. Happy to have you here. And so I think for anyone out there who maybe has not heard of KNZ Technology, because to be truly honest, this is kind of our first time hearing about KNZ as well. Could you give us a little bit of a background to KNZ Technology, when it started, and kind of what is your mission?
Actually, it will go back to my background. My background is all electronics. I got my master's degree in electrical engineering from Georgia Tech, and I work in Motorola mobile device and developing mobile companion products, including the Bluetooth headsets and speakers, which are all the earliest and most popular Bluetooth products in the market at the time. So after that, I worked for one of the largest wireless manufacturer and the distributors in the United States, and I was the lead of technology and in charge of the products development and the manufacture. So we build private label products for some world's famous brands and top-tier wireless carriers of the United States. So based on all this experience I have for the past 10 years, I started KNZ Technology around a year ago. So KNZ Technology is, we target as product provider for mobile electronics and wireless accessories. Our mission is to provide products that can really fill into the market gaps with unique design and cutting-edge technology.
Yeah, no, very well said. And I think we're going to start with the first product here. When you first go to the KNZ tech.com, by the way, anyone out there wants to go check it out. But when you first go there, you have a product, very, very cool looking speakers. Obviously there's two of them. And could you tell us a little bit about what I believe you call is the Go Duo?
Yeah, actually, the name of Go Duo is two words, right? Go is for mobility and convenience, and Duo it means two.
Mm-hmm.
So the speaker has two speaker units and with a carrying case. We designed it to target it as a personal speaker that fits everybody's everyday needs for music. So whenever you are either playing music or watching movie or playing video games, or if you stay at home or go for biking, and if you listen by yourself or in a party, it can fit all your needs. This is goal of our design for this speaker.
Makes perfect sense. And they're very I will say that they're very stylish. I mean, they're clear. They have these, they have these grates that look well great. Who designed these, or what were some of the inspirations for the design of these speakers? Because they do look very different.
Yes, it's actually the design of the outlook for the speakers. Actually, we get that inspiration from a lot of people. Actually, brought that up. They asked me, "Did you get that from Harman Kardon's idea?" So, actually, yes, we like that Harman Kardon's soundstick and Aura speakers that sleek and crystal clear design very much. And for now, most portable speakers, they are like a rugged design for outdoor activities, but they are not pretty enough, to match home and office designs. So that's why we get this Go Duo, that crystal clear look, and it's durable as well, and it's also contemporary and sleek, to fit into your home or office.
Right. No, it's the clear design, and definitely I just went to go look it up. I can't believe I let that slip my mind. You definitely do see inspirations from the sound stick, and yeah, that's something that I've noticed here on the program. Whenever people send us these for review, they do look very out of place when you have a ruggedized, waterproof, sport kind of speaker, and you try to bring it into the home. It does look very out of place. So I can see where this one it's not that at all. So you have here that it has a 4-in-1 design. What does that mean, and why?
The 4-in-1 design is actually an abstract of how you can use the Go Duo speakers for our customer to easy to remember. So we can talk them one by one. So
sure.
First, you can use them separately for extraordinary stereo experience. Most of the portable side speakers are just unibody. They cannot give you a actual stereo experience. I used to be a gamer. In college, I play video games and computer games and mobile games after work. But most, the basic speakers I have, even the, Beats Pills with JBLs, with sound Bose, with the Bose sound links. So they are not giving you the actual stereo feelings, but if you play some FPS games, you will not know where your rivals come from.
Yeah.
So this is an example, and also you have the same experience while you are watching movies. So we designed that to be able to separate, and they play left channel and right channel. That's the major feature of it. And the second is you can combine them together, magnetically. So they both have a magnetic base, and you put them together for portability and the convenience to carry. And you can also put them into the protective carrying base, which is made by silicon and is durable for outdoor activities.
So and
third is you can use them.
Right. Oh,
I'm sorry. I just get to the second. Yeah.
Sure. And the one thing I wanted to ask you about, of course, we're kind of flipping through the website as we talk, and we can see the silicon case that you have here. Obviously, there's a lot of water in the picture. How waterproof are these? Like, are these water resistant, waterproof? How durable are these speakers?
The speakers are highly water resistant. We have them passed the certification from SGS for IPX5, which means you can, it can resistant from the water projected from water jets for over 2 minutes. So
I gotcha.
it basically can help you to, use in all the, either rain or snow weather.
Very understandable. So yeah, and I saw these things, and of course the first few pictures, they are kind of standing stereo like you were mentioning, but very cool that you've designed them in a way that you can attach them bottom to bottom, and it turns into kind of a pill shaped set of stereo one stereo speaker. That's very cool. So the 4-in-1 design, that's that's 3 in 1. Was there a fourth one?
Yeah, you can use them individually, actually. Each speaker has its 5-watt output. It's pretty loud, and it has a built-in microphone. So it can be used not only, as speakers, but also can use it as a speakerphone, so for the conference call. And, in addition, actually, for the Go-Duo speakers, they also support auxiliary input. So that might be the 5th one. So in case you want to go, sometimes you want to go analog, you can just plug in the audio cable and enjoy its wired music.
Yeah, no, that will obviously have rare use cases. But hey, if you're in a crowded setting and you can't hear, hey, slap on the headphones and you can hear just fine. Or on a plane or what have you. Very, very cool. And they do look very nice. And how would you say is the sound quality? Like, would you say the best use case is when you are maybe using them as stereo side by side or together? Like, what would you say is kind of your favorite way to use the sound the Duo?
Go-Duo is the best of the experience you can have with Go-Duo will be side by side. They play in left and right channels. But in case you want to go mobile for outdoor activities, they're easy to get attached to either your backpack or bicycles, water bottle holders. So you can play together. They're still stereo speakers, and they're loud. For outdoors, I think it's good enough. But the most the higher quality of their experience will be they play in stereo mode.
Right, and I mean, obviously we've seen use cases of it's waterproof, it's rugged, you can take it with you biking in the rain, what have you. But you also mentioned a number of times that sitting in your room playing games or in the office listening to music. I mean, who's your target audience with this? Is this hikers, or is this office people, or just general home use?
We market that as a personal speaker, so that means it's actually fits everybody. Everybody's everyday need for music, basic need. So it doesn't matter. Actually, we have a audience before the Kickstarter campaign launch, we have some surveys, get feedback from over 12,000 people, and their feedback is, they are ranging from 15 years old to aging 65, and we got a pretty wide audience from our potential users.
Yeah, Kickstarter is a great way to connect to an audience that obviously is interested. They'll, pre-order your product and things like that, but they'll also be sure to give you feedback whenever you ask for it. So, and just as an aside, how was the Kickstarter experience? Like, do you really credit the the launch of the Go Duo to Kickstarter, and just how was the whole Kickstarter for you?
It's different, in my background, it's mostly OEM and distribution. I usually talk to the buyers of those big brands or big box retailers, and they can talk to me about their personal preference. But for Kickstarter, it's a retail, and you are talking to different people from all over the world, and they are different age and different habits. And they give you advice. Actually, a good beauty of the Kickstarter is you're targeting on people and advertise them to while before the product launch, so you can really use their suggestions. And it's good to talk to the retail side, talk to a different audience and customers, and know everybody's needs.
Right. Yeah. And yeah, I'm glad that you definitely had a good experience with it, because it is different indeed. So let's get into some of the nitty gritty. Battery life on these speakers. What would you say? Just average use case.
Battery life is each of the speakers can play music continuously, or you can make a phone calls continuously for 10 hours with no problem.
Not bad at all. So these connect via Bluetooth or Wi-Fi, or how do they connect?
They connect through Bluetooth, and also, as I mentioned before, they also have the other mode for auxiliary input.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So let's say if someone wanted to purchase, two sets of these, could they connect all four, and all four would play the same source, or is it only two per source, two speakers per source?
To play, actually, they work in pairs, so only two of them works, but both the speakers are identical, so you can swap them. You can use one of the from this pair and connect to the other from the other pair. You don't have to follow one by one.
Okay, I see. Okay, no, that's very, very informative. So these retail for how much?
For $119 for retail, and we go on special in Kickstarter for $79 right now.
Not too bad. So, you actually have an ongoing Kickstarter right now, or is the Kickstarter finished?
Actually, we still have, I believe it's 18 days left, and we actually goes pretty well in Kickstarter. We got fully funded, within 48 hours, and right now we are approaching 400 of our funding goals right now. We have over 600 backers.
I see that. No, very, very impressive. And we'll actually throw the Kickstarter in the show notes just for anyone out there that wants to go check it out, maybe pre-order it themselves. And yeah, wow, that has a lot of, wow, there's a lot more information. So great to know about that. I did not know about the Kickstarter beforehand. I probably should have done my research, but great. So yeah, and by the way, just poking around your website again, just to deviate from the Go Duo speakers. The Go Duo. Is this your second set of products? Because I see here you also have what I believe are the Max earphones, the MAXE.
Yeah, the Max earphones is another product. Actually, Go Duo is our first product.
Okay.
We just prepare it for a pretty long time, and Maxi they might launch at a similar time, but Go Duo is our first baby and our brand.
I gotcha. So, all right. So, yeah, I mean, again, the speakers, you can check them out again at knztech.com. We have links in the show notes. Is there any part of the Go Duo speakers that maybe we missed or you wanted to expand upon?
Yeah, actually, I want to say Go Duo speakers, not only for the unique designs, the designs are impressive because it's from our like award-winning designers. They got a Red Dot award and the IF award before, and also for the sound quality, they also come from the professionals. So we have the speaker unit actually is customized from the Bose current supplier, and it has a like wide dynamic range,
Mm-hmm.
and it's also built with waterproof. So and it's also built in sound base radiator. So besides you have a crisp and detailed mid-range and high, and you also have enhanced bass, and it also the audio is tuned by one of my friends, and we hired him as our acoustic engineering lead.
Yeah.
He used to be years of as a director of acoustic engineering from Philips for their home theater speakers, and he knows the details of the speakers and really can push all the speakers to their capacity limit. And speakers, we put them in testing and tuned in professional audio labs of manufacturers who also make products for Sony and Samsung.
Mm-hmm.
And these are all the resources that we have, and we use all the top tier quality manufacturer resources to make sure this is built with the highest quality and professionally manufactured.
Yeah, and we're actually checking out the video that you have up on Kickstarter, and they're actually bigger than I thought they'd be. They're obviously kind of think two softball sized speakers. So they're bigger, water resistant, shock proof, all that good stuff. And I again, the thing that really struck me about this before you came on the show was in fact the design. The clear plastic that you have over the case of the speakers. It definitely looks very, very nice. So, I mean, it's your first product, and I think that you've done a really great job of starting out strong. And yeah, it's it's been a real pleasure to talk to you about this. So, if people want to find out more, where should they go to find out about KNZ Technologies?
Well, first, you can go to our website, knztech.com, and you can also go to Kickstarter and search Go Duo. We'll find our projects. They have over 2 weeks to go. And also, you can follow us through Facebook. Our website is Facebook and /KNZ USA. You'll find us.
All right.
We have over 3,000 followers right now.
Very, very cool. Yeah, and we'll certainly do that, and we'll also include the Kickstarter in the show notes just so people can find that, because seeing the GIFs in the video really do kind of show off the magnetic capabilities of these things, and really show how flexible they can be. So I think with that, and Lingbin, thank you so much for joining us here on Computer America. Honestly, again, these look very, very cool, and for a first project, you've done a really great job. So thanks for coming on to Computer America to talk to us about them.
Thank you, Ben. I appreciate your time today.
Our
Have
pleasure.
A good day.
Yeah, you too as well. And once again, everyone, Mr. Lingbin Kong, and he is the founder and CEO of KNZ Technology. Lingbin, next time you have a new project or a new product, please come back on to Computer America. We love to talk to you about it.
Yeah, fantastic. Thanks for the offer.
All right, thank you so much.
Looking forward to that.
Definitely. All right, and have a good one. Bye-bye.
Have a good one. Bye-bye.
All right, and there he goes. So, everyone, once again, knztech.com. You can check it out. We'll include them in the show notes as well. So, I think with that, with all of that out of the way, and again, computeramerica.com is where you'll find the show notes, but with all of that out of the way, and hopefully we answered as many of your questions as we possibly could get to. I think we covered that pretty well. Speakers are as speakers do, but I think this one really stands out in terms of the design of the product, as well as, hey, they're two separate speakers that can be combined very easily to form one ruggedized, mobile speaker. So, it's certainly a bit different from other speakers, but at the same time, I think we covered what that speaker can really handle pretty darn well. So, of course, always feel free to submit your questions to live@computeramerica.com, and we'll, of course, get to them. And, we have an ongoing conversation with our guests. So please feel free to drop us a line, or drop ourselves, or, drop myself, or anyone here on the show a line at live@computeramerica.com, and we'll get back to you. We try to pride ourselves on being accessible. So, with all of that out of the way, why don't we jump into computer and technology news? And this is our portion of the show that we dedicate to the latest happenings in computer technology and, just all things, just all things computers. So I think we're going to get started right now. Once again, computer and technology news brought to you by Computer America. All right, so our first story that we're going to do today is actually this one. And by this one, I mean Apple. They're in the news, but not for the good things. So Apple, they have this ongoing feud. We covered it it's been like months now, a couple of months ago, where Apple and John Deere were two of the big names, but a lot of large tech companies are trying to push something similar, whereas others are taking a hardline stance the opposite direction. But it's the it is the right to repair. That's right. If you value the ability to take your object to a third-party vendor that can repair, your Apple iPhone, and they'll do it for less money because they can get parts cheaply, and the labor is even cheaper, well, then this affects you, because Apple's in the news for something called Error 53. Now you're saying, but Ben, what is Error 53? And yeah, it's not good. It's a thing that essentially bricks your phone. Once you get it, it's a malfunction, and the only way to fix it, is to essentially replace the entire device. And the only way to get Error 53, though, because I know a lot of you haven't gotten it, but the only way to get Error 53 is by repairing Apple products with non-Apple non-licensed Apple parts. So even though a screen may look just like an Apple iPhone 7 screen, it may, touch the same, may do everything the same, but if it's not licensed by Apple, then you'll get Error 53 because it doesn't have that little, snippet of code, or it's not that, it's not designated to be an officially licensed Apple product. Well, it'll break your whole phone. Even though it should work by all other accounts, you'll get this error. So here we go. This is by The Guardian, and we're just barely going to get into this, and then we'll have to stop for the break. But Apple Error 53 sting operation caught staff misleading customers, and this is in court documents. So they say that ACCC claimed staff wrongly told iPhone customers that they were not entitled to free replacements or repair devices if they had been taken to unauthorized third parties. Interesting indeed. So, Australia's consumer watchdog carried out a sting operation against Apple that says it caught staff repeatedly misleading iPhone customers about their legal rights to free repair or replacement, or so on, after so-called Error 53 malfunctions. That's right. And that was in a court document revealed. So we'll get back to this and more. We have a lot of different news stories, but we're going to start off with Apple and how they really don't want you taking your device to anyone else for repairs. So we'll be right back with more computer and technology news and more Computer America just after this. We'll be right back.
We are all Brother Wolf. 10 years ago, a group of locals banded together to create positive change. We took animals into our homes, held adoption events at local retailers, and talked to the community about our mission to help build a no-kill Asheville. A decade later, we have achieved so many victories for animals in need. There's been so much progress, yet there's still so much to do. As part of our year-long celebration, we encourage you to become a member of our special Compassionate Circle program. With a monthly donation of $10 or more, you will have behind-the-scenes access to the work we are doing at Brother Wolf. Our goal is to reach 1,000 members because we receive no government funding. Working together, we can help build and sustain no-kill communities. Learn more at compassionatecircle.bwar.org. We are a 501c3 tax-deductible organization.
And welcome back to the Computer America Show. It is 31 minutes past the hour, and if you're just joining us, welcome to the Computer America Show. I am your host, Ben Crossman, and we just wrapped up our interview just a couple of minutes ago with KNZ Technology. They make, they're new to the market, honestly. They're about a year in, and they make speakers. And we talked to the founder and CEO of the company about their first product, the Go Duo speakers. They're very stylish. They're very unique looking in terms of mobile and portable speakers, and you should definitely check them out. Again, everything that you need to know will be in the show notes over at computeramerica.com. So in the meantime, we are doing computer and technology news, and if you're following along in the video portion, that's right, we have the article up there, but this is from, once again, The Guardian, Mr. Christopher Noss, and Australian authorities lodged a, by the way, we are talking about an article concerning the Era 53 and Apple, where if someone had taken their device to a third party for repair and used, third party parts and things like that that were obviously cheaper, I can figure a lot of people do it because not everyone wants to pay, the exorbitant prices of Apple. But if they did, then they were no longer eligible for replacements, even though they honestly should have been. So here we have it, where Australian authorities lodged a high-profile case against Apple this year after iPhone and iPad customers experienced a malfunction that rendered phones useless if it detects that a repair had been carried out by a non-Apple technician, saying that the fault occurred between late 2014 until early last year. So the case the case set to go to trial in mid-December accuses Apple of wrongly telling customers that they were not entitled to free replacements or repair if they had taken their device to an unauthorized third-party repairer. Oh, and by the way, for anyone out there that is confused, Era 53, by the way, is a message that occurred after updating to iOS 9.0 on iPhones, people who had their Touch ID fingerprint sensor replaced by a repair shop and not by Apple, saying that they were then rendered useless because the operating system update detected a mismatch between the sensor and the phone and locked the device, assuming unauthorized access was being attempted. So this is something that they brought up last time, and I remember when Apple first came out against this, where they said that if they let this go, and obviously there's two sides to every story, but they said that if they let this go, this was a security feature. Era 53 was actually a security feature because the Touch ID obviously is synced to a single person if you have it, set that way. If they didn't have Era 53 or something like that in place with the iPhone, someone could go in, replace the Touch ID with someone else's Touch ID, a third-party Touch ID that was matched to the person, and all of the security could be circumvented by simply swapping out the Touch ID, part of the phone. That was Apple's line of reasoning. That was Apple's justification for locking people's phones was that if you don't take it to an Apple licensed, repair person, then anyone could just get a phone, steal a phone, and then circumvent all of the security with like literally a couple of minutes of work. It would not be that hard. So there you have it. And so they said that the advice was allegedly given even where the repair were not related to the fault. So yeah, that's where it gets a little more sticky. But Apple has so far chosen to remain silent about the case brought by the Australian Competition and Consumer Commission, or the ACCC. So they said that court documents obtained by The Guardian Australia show that the company has denied the ACC's allegation, saying it did not mislead or cause any harm to its Australian customers. They said that the documents show that they use undercover methods to investigate Apple, where investigators posing as iPhone customers called all 13 Apple retailers across Australia in June last year. They told Apple staff that their iPhone speakers had stopped working after screen replacements by a third party, and Apple's response was the same in each of the 13 calls. And they said that in each call, Apple Australia represented to the ACC caller that no Apple entity was required to or would remedy the defective speaker at no cost under the Australian consumer law if the screen of the iPhone had been replaced by someone other than Apple Australia or an Apple authorized service provider. So, to kind of skip towards the end here, because this is a rather long article for a court case that has not taken place yet. They said that Apple denied the message on its U.S. website was an express representation that consumers were not entitled to a free replacement or repair. Apple said that the website was referring only to the condition of the company's own limited warranty, which existed in addition to a customer's statutory rights. So they, Apple has previously faced court action in the United States in relating to Area 53, which is honestly what I'm probably remembering. But the case was thrown out last year. And again, Apple had it thrown out because, again, they claimed it was a security feature, not a bug. And yeah, Apple is, one more time, Apple is at the forefront of the right to repair in their thinking is that no one, or at least the end consumer, after you buy Apple's product, you don't technically own it, or at least you don't own the patents behind it, so you are not authorized to repair your own device. Apple is teaming up with the likes of John Deere, and it's probably going to take a Supreme Court decision as to whether or not, when does a company stop owning a device? Is it after you purchase it? Is it yours entirely? Or are the patents, the technology behind it, the ideas behind the technology, enough for retailers, or at least the companies making the products, to say what a consumer can and cannot do with their devices? It's going to be a rough one. But hey, we're going to find out eventually. So, all right, there is that story. And Apple ending up on the wrong side of consumers once again. But it's okay. They're loaded. All right, so how about our next story is, how about this one? I'm a pretty big fan of Steam. Not the biggest fan of Steam. I know people who are way bigger Steam fanatics than I am. But I will say that Steam has a pretty cool system in place for indie games and for new games and for games that are just getting off the ground. And this is the Steam Greenlight program. This is, they are very friendly to indie developers and really the best platform you can ever hope for if you are trying to get a new game out on the market. So, here we have Ars Technica, Mr. Kyle Orland, and they say that if you want to get your game up on Steam, well, $100 is all you need. And here we go. They say that recoupable fee to curb abuse without being barrier to beginning game developers. So, Valve announced today that anyone will be able to publish games on Steam with its previously announced Steam Direct program for $100 recoupable publishing fee per game. In announcing the direct publishing fee, Valve says it wanted to be as small as possible to ensure that it wasn't a barrier to beginning game developers, while also not being so small as to invite easy abuse by people looking to exploit our system. They say that the company's initial thinking hovered around $500, but eventually that number came down as the community conversation really challenged us to justify why the fee wasn't as low as possible and to think about what we could do to make the low fee work. So, Valve's announcement doesn't go into details on exactly how the developers will recoup the $100 fee, although there is an update to the article and they have clarified it. They said that we plan to return the $100 fee after a game hits $1,000 in sales. So you pay $100, your game sells $1,000 worth of copies, and your account gets refunded $100. That's how that works. So the move, of course, marks a huge departure from Steam's early days, where as a small, heavily curated section of only top games, it's also a major change for the current Steam Greenlight standard, which asks developers for a one-time fee of $100 to even get on a list of titles considered for community votes. And that required payment was controversial when it was announced, with some likening the system to paying for a lottery ticket that only offered a chance at ever being listed on Steam. That's right. So, they say that Valve says it is working to provide developers and publishers with a more direct publishing path and ultimately connect gamers with even more great content. And again, this is not like EA's latest title. Its latest AAA blockbuster is going to be held up behind a $100 fee. This is for indie developers, people who are making small games that are, only a few of them really make it past that viral stage where, they sell thousands of copies. Honestly, you're looking at maybe hundreds of copies if you're lucky. And yeah, this is actually, I have to say, probably one of the better ways that they can handle this, because before, you had to be very lucky and you had to be a great salesman to get your game even accessible to anyone. Now, at least there's a platform where if you have $100, which again is not too much, and you can handle everything else yourself, this is probably for you. You can get your game up on Steam for $100. That's honestly not too bad. So, they said that to that end, Valve also announced today that it's going to look for specific places where human eyes can be injected into the store algorithm to ensure that it is working as intended and to ensure it doesn't miss something interesting. So, there are no announced details on precisely when the new fee-based system will be rolled out for developers, but can't imagine it would be too long. So, at any rate, very cool, and once again, very cool by Steam to give developers this kind of platform. And also, it does not hurt Steam's bottom line at all. They are essentially printing money. So there you have it. All right, so we have a series of stories here we should probably get to. And should probably get to them here where, how do you put this? Duplicate, there we go. Google, they are about to change the internet as we know it. And for better or worse, this is what we're going to have to deal with. Because, consumers, they only have so much choice, but when you have the kind of dominance, really, I dare say the kind of monopoly, that when you say, let me Google something, and someone says, why don't you use Bing? And you say, why don't you get out of my house? When you have that kind of monopoly, there's really no point in fighting it. It's at least it's very hard to fight that kind of thing. Of course, there's services such as DuckDuckGo and other places, but at the same time, Let's face it, Google owns a lot. And Google is about to change the market as we know it, and they're preparing people for that eventuality. So, this is not about search though. This is about ads and ad blockers and how they work. So, Google is to let publishers charge users for ad blockers. You heard that right. If you are an ad blocker, well, Google is about to make it possible for publishers to say, if you want to view this content and you have an ad blocker, then you have to pay us $1 a month, or whatever it may be, for the loss in revenue that advertising has caused. And of course, it would be paid through Google. I imagine Google Wallet would come into play somewhere, and it would, you just kind of pop around the internet, and you have to pay people to get content that you would otherwise get, even though you use an ad blocker. So here we have it. This is Google will let publishers ask people who use ad blockers to either enable advertising or make a payment to view content without ads. So, funding choices, that is the name of this program, will roll out first in America, UK, Germany, Australia, New Zealand, and I assume others, where Google said in a blog. Google is also working on an ad blocker of its own, which will function in Chrome browser. That is the big news, and we have, I believe, another story about that somewhere, where, that's right, Google Chrome, which is now the largest browser of any browser, is going to have a built-in ad blocker. Of course, the irony being that the company that owns it makes their money off of ads. So we're going to get to why that makes sense here in just a minute. But they said that will block specific adverts that do not meet Google standards, where ad blocking programs are designed to protect consumers from intrusive web ads that slow down browsers and vacuum up personal data. And ad blockers take a big toll on publishers and producers who rely on advertising revenue. And Google's Senior Vice President of Ads and Commerce, saying that we believe these changes will ensure all content creators, big and small, can continue to have a sustainable way to fund their work with online advertising. I can see where Google would highly encourage that kind of behavior. But Google is part of the Coalition for Better Ads, a group which includes News Corp, Facebook, and Unilever, and is dedicated to improving user experience of online advertising, where recent figures from the Internet Advertising Bureau suggest that 22% of UK adults use an ad blocking service online. That's in the UK though. The US, I'm sure it's much, much lower, but it's definitely on the rise. It's definitely on the rise, and it's definitely something that Google is taking note of, and they're taking charge of it. So, yep, and just to give you another little fun fact, AdBlocker Plus. Not my personal favorite, but hey, it's one of them. AdBlocker Plus claims to have more than 100 million active users worldwide. And when you consider that, that maybe, let's just say, I am one user. Ben Crossman is one user of an ad blocking system, and my stats are somewhere around 136,000 different ads in the past 5 or 6 months. Like really, not even that long. And yeah, so let's figure a year, maybe 3 to 4 to 500,000 ads. Yeah, that is 50 billion ads. Of course, not everyone's a power user like me, but at the same time, it's tens of billions of ads are being blocked. There's a problem here. Google knows it, and advertisers know it. The current system is that people are using ad blockers. People are not responding to ads because they're getting intrusive. They're getting all over the place. They're getting excessive. And when that happens and people do not respond to them, people put, or at least the publishers, put more ads on their site to make up for the loss of revenue of other ads. Makes perfect sense. But the problem is, it's a snowball effect, and all of a sudden, no one is clicking on ads, but there's more ads than ever before. and enter ad blockers to kind of, remedy the solution, because, it's gotten so bad that the only way to enjoyably read anything or do anything online is to block ads. Well, enter the system. And to kind of go one bit further in this whole story, as to really why it's such a big deal, well, here we have another story. This one is from Ars Technica, and it's about Google prepares publishers for the release of Chrome ad blocking. And just take note, everyone, that, we have recommended a number of different ad blockers. We had AdBlock Plus on the show a number of times talking about their services. I personally use uBlock Origin. There are other services out there besides Chrome, but Chrome's native one will not do what the others have done up until now. It will only block certain ads that do not meet the acceptable ad standards. So that means that if you go to a website and there are banner ads and they comply completely with what Google dictates a banner ad should be, it will not block that ad. You will have ads on the page, so it will not be an ad blocker. But if there is an obtrusive pop-up ad that takes up the whole screen, makes a loud noise, and bright flashing lights, that kind of thing, Google's ad blocker will block that. So it's taking the good with the bad, and once again, Ars Technica, Mr. Joe Mullen, and yeah, they said that news that Google intends to install an ad blocker in its Chrome browser shocked the tech and publishing world in April, although not really. And they said that now details of how the program will work are starting to become clear, where Google Ad Blocker will block all advertising on sites that have a certain number of unacceptable ads, where that includes ads that have pop-ups, auto-playing videos, and prestigial countdown ads that delay the display of content. Hate those. So Google, which refers to the ad blocker as an ad filter, is using a list of unacceptable ad types provided by the Coalition for Better Ads. And that Google has already discussed this plan with the publishers, who will get at least 6 months to prepare for the change coming in early 2018. And publishers will get a tool called Ad Experience Reports, and will alert them to offending ads on their site and explain how to fix the issues. So yeah, Google is giving people plenty of opportunity to head this off at the pass, but we'll see what happens. So they say that next year, Chrome will stop showing ads, including ads owned or served by Google, on websites that aren't compliant with the Coalition for Better Ad standards. So they said that publishers with repeat violations of Google's ad policies will get 30 days to correct them. And Google is also offering a tool called Funding Choices, which will, as we talked about earlier, allow people to, or at least allow the publisher to block users who use an ad blocker and require them to pay a fee or turn off their ad blocker. Not a huge fan, but it is what it is. So the article continues on by saying that at first glance, it's surprising that Google, which is again the largest advertising company, would promote ad blockers. But it can also be viewed as a defensive move, giving the company more control over the type of ads flourishing on the web. And one other way I had heard this put to me was that when you take away ad space, or you take away ads, and you only have a limited amount of ads left up on the internet, the ads that are still up go for a premium because there's less of them, so they can charge more. And let's put it this way, regardless of what happens with the ad blocker, with Google, and this whole publishing idea and funding choices, what have you, regardless of what happens, I doubt Google is really going to lose money over this. Even, Google, that makes their money off of advertising, is releasing an ad blocker. I really doubt Google is going to lose money over this. And it has the nice little benefit of looking like Google is on the side of the consumer. So there you have it. And let's see. Wow, we have time for just one more story. One more. All right, how about this one? VR headsets. They have a glaring problem in their current iteration. And, I'm a huge fan of, the HTC Vive is the one that I used. I think VR has a lot of promise, and it's only going to get better. Like, if these are the baby steps, my goodness, I can't wait to see when it's off to the races. It is a very, very cool technology. But at the same time, it's cumbersome, it's large, and it's expensive. So, enter this article from Sean Buckley from Engadget, saying that VR headsets could soon be half the size of the Oculus Rift. Think more like sunglasses instead of giant hanging off your face, technological warts. So, sunglass-sized virtual reality goggles may be closer than we think. So, the digital world we see through today's virtual reality headsets are amazing, but the goggles themselves leave something to be desired. Where despite offering high resolution and room scale VR, the Oculus Rift and the HTC Vive are bulky, front-heavy devices. That's right. Wouldn't it be better if they were smaller? And soon, hey, they could be. Where at the Augmented World Expo, Copen revealed a new 4K reference design VR headset that's half the size of today's consumer goggles. It's a startling difference, saying that more headsets are at least as large as Google's Cardboard Viewer, where the prototype shown off at the, Expo is at least a third smaller. And that's because it's built around two tiny, low-powered, high-resolution displays that measure just 1 inch diagonally. Pretty small. And that the same tiny 2K VR panels the company showed off at CES earlier this year, saying that the end result is a diminutive headset that looks like a squash version of the Oculus Rift. And he only wore it for a few minutes, but during the time, the lightweight headset felt comfortable. Although he said it's not perfect. And he said that the pint-sized VR headset showed sharp, high-resolution visuals, but it confined them to a small field of view, which is a problem. One of the great things about VR is the feeling of peripheral vision, or at least the utilization of a person's peripheral vision. That's certainly something that they're going to have to tackle. And the optics can't be currently adjusted either, saying that that the company told Engadget it's experimenting with different lens configurations to try to expand the field of view, but it's ultimately a limitation of the display technology. A 1-inch 2K screen is amazing, but it's just too small to make complete immersive VR headset. So, so closer than we think, but I think what the author's getting at is that this is more akin to, what do we say? A personal viewing, like a personal television or a personal viewing device, I would say. So the author wraps it up by saying that either way, it's still a bit early to judge. The company says it only started designing the prototype 2 months ago, and there's still a lot of work to be done. And and of course they said that it may lead to a headset that may be smaller, lighter, and more consumer accessible in terms of virtual reality in the future. And that future may be sooner than we expected. So, pretty good article. And yeah, that is a huge disadvantage to virtual reality. Definitely have to tackle that. So, all right. That is just about it, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us here on Computer America. Glad that you could. And by the way, everyone, KNZ Technology, if you missed any part of today's show, head on over to Computer America, where we have the archive, or, hey, check out our podcast on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, SoundCloud, many other places, over on our website, computeramerica.com. Tune in tomorrow for HyperX, That's right. They make peripherals, and they're awesome. And yeah, see you then. Until then, everyone, have a great day. Bye-bye.